never going to be enough. We'll go to chapter 16. But first, oh please, we'll see what Mary is doing. If she wants to be with us while we read. Okay. Swim, why? Damn it, go, going to my room. I don't care what all of you do, just leave me alone. Sail anywhere you want to for all I care, alright. Sit at my desk. Well, imagine I'm sitting at my desk looking over here. Why I don't have my hammock down? Other questions have answered, or do not have answered. Is it an imaginary question if it doesn't have an answer? In the summer of 1828, Independence, Missouri, as an incorporated town, was not much more than 2 years old. There had been settlers before. Lewis and Clark had passed by the site in 1804, on their way up the Missouri River. But once William Becknell took the pack train of supplies westward to the Cimarron. Oh yeah, it was Stallion Spirit. Stallion Cimarron. Crossing of the Arkansas River, then south into Mexican territory. The Santa Fe Trail entered the vocabulary of America. That was in 1821. Soon trappers, fur traders, explorers, and missionaries followed, opening up another great pathway to the west called the Oregon Trail. Both trails began at the main square of Independence, giving rise to the title of Gateway of the West. The first permanent settlers started arriving in 1825, therefore it became a state stream. Not surprising, therefore, that by 1828, Independence had become the newest and largest settlement in western Missouri. The broad newness showed at every glance. The main street was a long stretch, ankle-deep dust that boiled up into billowing clouds with every passing wagon, and blinded and choked anyone standing nearby. When it rained, which was often, the streets turned into a quagmire of mud that clutched at man and beast with ferocious tenacity. Residences were a ragtag collection of sawed huts, log hovels, and shanties patched together with rough-cut lumber, sheets of tin, or whatever else the owners had been able to steal, filch, or forage. Indian teepees with their packs of snarling dogs and filthy, naked children dotted the western edge of town. Here and there, open campsites marked the habitation of the mountain men who disdained the finer comforts of civilization. The main business section of town was not noticeably better. A hotel next door to the stage lines office could only be identified as such from the crudely painted sign nailed over the door. The dried goods store was crammed into what had once been a two-room cabin. One could get a shave in the barber shop, which was made from nailed-together crates. But if a bath was also needed, it was given in a tent out back. At every turn, disorganization and clutter assaulted the eyes. Joshua Steed, who had just finished supper at the town's only boarding house, found to his liking. He stood for a moment, enjoying the hot sunshine against his shirt, letting his eyes run up and down the street. The populace of Independence was as mixed and varied as were the buildings. Across from him, half a dozen Negro men with grizzled white stubble for beards wrestled with a load of freight. Missouri had largely been settled by slave-holding Southerners who had come into the Union as a slave state under the Missouri Compromise. Some settlers from the North were starting to balance that a little, but it was still heavily Southern, and Negroes were still in evidence everywhere. A few feet from Joshua, a man peered with curiosity into the window of the dry goods shop. His hair was long, jet black, filthy, and matted in hopeless snarls. A path of cloth pulled it back away from the back of his neck. The buckskin he wore was likewise stained and soiled. His features were flat and broad, giving him a menacing look. He gave Joshua a long, surly stare, then moved away. Osage tribe, Joshua guessed, noting the man's height. The Osage were notably taller than the Missouri, the Fox, and the Soft. They hunted those low hill country to the south and west, and it surprised Joshua a little to see one this far north. Coming toward him were two heavily bearded men on horseback, stinging 3 loaded mules behind them. They were dressed very much like the Indian, with full-length buckskin breeches and shirts. They also wore hats made of possum and squirrel skins. Each carried a long-barreled rifle and had a huge hunting knife strapped to his waist. Joshua felt a quick twitch of envy. It was only mid-July. Experienced trappers knew an animal's fur was at its thickest and most luxurious in the winter months. Since it was only mid-July, this meant they had a long way to go to find good fur. Perhaps even into the Snake and Columbia River basins of Oregon. Joshua had arrived in Independence in late February. For a time, he had been tempted to throw his lot in with the trappers and mountain men that were pouring in from the west to trade their furs. The romance of the vast regions to the west was enticing, and he found the quiet confidence of these men almost mesmerizing. John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith Astor had virtually cornered that entire fur market west of the Mississippi, and a man with some good business could make a small fortune in one season of trapping. Farming interested him not at all. Prairie sod was a tangle of roots so thick it took 3 yoke of oxen to plow it. And with this, but that could end up working very well in your favor later on if you have a good compost. Prairie sod was a tangle of roots so thick it took 3 yoke of oxen to plow it, and with the shortage of trees, the settlers lived in sod huts that leaked mud every time it rained. But you don't have to do that. Eventually, though, Joshua was realistic enough to recognize that trapping was not the life for a novice. Tales told around the campfires and in the taverns spoke of snow 10 and 12 feet deep, of hostile Indians that would skin a man alive and leave his flesh for the buzzards, of grizzly bears that could make a man's They could take a man's head off with one swipe of their paws, or wolf packs cornering a man's horse, cutting a wolf pack cutting a man's horse right out from underneath him. Besides, Joshua knew the freight business, and if there was one thing that was booming in Independence, it was the moving of goods and people. His plans for making his way in the world, and Independence figured heavily in those plans. Up the wild, untamed stretches of the West. Plus, you gotta figure out how to make your own liquor. Joshua paused for a moment on the plank sidewalk outside Roundy's saloon. The noise coming from the open doorway was boisterous and filled with energy. Wait, he said in one season he got a small fortune. You could do it with Daniel Boone. Go, go, go. You don't need any experience. You just gotta find a couple of idiot friends who want to do it, and then sure. All you gotta do is keep everybody... Never mind. The noise coming from the open door was boisterous and filled with energy. If freight was Independence's #1 industry, then liquor had to be a close second. There were 3 taverns and 4 saloons along Main Street. This was due in large part to the nature of the town's inhabitants. This was the frontier in every sense of the word. The border of the United States and Indian Territory lay less than 10 miles west of Independence. The West attracted the daring, restless, and in many cases, the lawless. If a sheriff or marshal came sniffing around, it was a simple thing to ship across the border into Indian Territory and out of any legal jurisdiction. To slip. Independence was a name well suited to most of the town residents. Taking a cigar from his vest pocket, Joshua cut off the end, carefully lit it, then turned and stepped inside. He stopped, squinting in the comparative gloom of the saloon. Then he smiled inside himself. The wagon master was at the table. Already it was obvious that the poker game was just getting underway. On the keel boats along the Ohio, Joshua had learned a valuable lesson about poker. He'd saved over $100 before he fled from Palmyra. He lost all of it in one night of drunken poker playing. I never won anything gambling that I didn't lose. Gambling. Immediately after. When he sobered up, he realized that in cards there were 2 choices. You could be the fool, or you could be the man who made fools out of others. Oh, so you do have to make the choice to do it? That's why I don't play. That's worse than cheating in games where you don't win anything. Things changed dramatically for him when in Cincinnati. He intervened in a barroom brawl and saved an older man's life. Though Joshua picked up a warrant for his arrest and a 6-inch scar on his shoulder, he also learned the man he had saved was a professional gambler. They fled Ohio with the law in hot pursuit. Once they were clear, the man repaid his debt. Under his tutorship, Joshua learned the subtleties of the trade, picking the mark, recognizing the slicks and avoiding them, spotting a marked deck, how to string a sucker along, bluff and counter-bluff. By the time he had won back more than triple his original stake, Joshua had tired of the game. There was too much steed in him to make a living as a parasite. And he and the gambler had split company. There are times when old card skills can be used to advantage, and this was one of those times. He stubbed out his 3rd cigar, eyeing the man across the table through the heavy cloud of smoke in the tavern. The man was a teamster from Virginia, coming to Missouri with 3 Conestoga wagon, the 9 teams of horses. But isn't our history a lot about it is like undigging the railroad that already was there? And then like they were living in civilization and they drove out the natives from the native civilization that the natives were living in already. And the French did it first, and then now they won't play any war games, and they're like, no, and that's why they call them freedom fries. But literally the French did it first, so just kill the natives, drive them out, just take the fucking place, it's ours. Isn't that why Joe Smith said the great city of Chicago was going to be destroyed? Wasn't it actually destroyed? And that's why everybody's like, yeah, you know what you're talking about. We're all taught that Nauvoo is just becoming this great city like Chicago, and I think they're full of shit. It's just strange that you want a house that costs you the rest of your fucking life to get it. Or you can run into the woods, you can build yourself a little shanty by a stream and forage berries, I guess. But you could always plant seeds and stuff. We could probably all live in the woods. Why don't anybody just live in? There's probably so many people living in the woods. Wagons were fully loaded. 780 miles west of Jackson County lay Santa Fe. Wow, that's a ways. If you really got nothing that you're going to do with the rest of your life except for make the trip from one place to the other, then how many miles did you say? 1,000? I mean, what are you going to do? Walk 20 miles a day? Make your horse walk 20 miles a day? It's 5 days, 150 days. We're going on a couple, it's like a month and 2/3 of a month trip. Don't worry, we'll get there though. Sold everything we owned, and all we gotta do is get there, and we're riding horses. So hey, how about we put ourselves in a little wagon and get 2 horses, and then yeah, you can just be fine sitting in your chair for 2 months, read a couple, several dozen books. Stop at the libraries, but maybe there weren't any libraries on the way yet. You could just establish a library out and tell people what to do. All anybody really wants is an oasis in the desert. Free everything. We could grow it all too. Joshua knew his kind well. After leaving his gambler partner, Joshua stayed in Indiana, driving wagons along the national road between. How much fucking time has passed anyway? Is Lydia on her 3rd child yet? Is Emma lost 4? There's like, I heard Joshua did this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and I do it all every, like, 10 things in 10 weeks, I guess. Along the national road between Tallahassee and St. Louis. There he had learned the freight business. Like, picks things up in a week. Yeah, well, yeah, and then you get bored. He had also learned the business of the men who moved freight. Yeah, it's like he could learn it all pretty much in a week, enough to be in charge, except for they never put you in charge, so nothing will ever get done or better. He had also learned the business of the men who moved freight, and this backwoodsman from Virginia was nothing more than a sharpshooter who decided to go it on his own. In Teamster parlance, there were 2 kinds of wagoners. The regulars, who were continuously on the road with their horses and wagons, and the sharpshooters, farmers who put their farm teams on the road when rates shot up. Oh, come on, why? Why you gotta live for things like that when you could just sit back and smoke? I'm imagining already being drunk. Why don't we grow our own grain? Why can't life be good anyway? Even when was the last time people lived forever? And the rates shot up, and there were quick profits to be made. Yep, we're gonna make triple, double. Come on. We're gonna take advantage of a bunch of people. Come on. Joshua had their natural. I mean, yeah, and when there are rich people to be taken advantage of, even though they probably know they're being taken advantage of, but they have enough money to be taken advantage of. And if it wasn't that way, I mean, why not own nothing? I'm pretty sure we could all have our own little batch of things. Sometimes people fight the stupidest things. Farmers who wished it out. Joshua had the natural disdain for sharpshooters felt by all the regulars. They provided unwelcome competition in a highly competitive market. Which should be an already hot anyway. And did so in a way the regulars viewed as patently unfair. This particular sharpshooter was trying to cross over. He'd sold his farm in Virginia in order to get into the freight business and would make it all back in one swoop, leaving his wife and 3 little ones in the care of relatives. He had gone to Pennsylvania, bought 3 wagons and 18 head of horses, then continued on to Pittsburgh, where he brought about 40,000 pounds of manufactured goods to sell out. Once Joshua had heard his tale, spilled out after a free whiskey or 2. Was it 1 or 2? It was probably 3. 1 and 2. He walked out wet of town where the Virginia had left his rigs in care of the 2 hired men who drove with him. That's when Joshua's idea had first begun to incubate. The wagons were a sight to behold. These were the great Conestoga. Or I suppose a picture like the kind you rode on top of and had named like the teams that drew them for the valley in eastern Pennsylvania, whence they had originated. Now there was a description of a wagon. Every part was built of wood, specially selected to stand whatever conditions might encounter on this road. Pioneer children will sing when they walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. After this book, wagon box was 4 feet deep. So no parts are made of metal then, okay. 14 feet along the box. I just can't get out of my head that the space people in the spaceships used to be down in their airships even watching us closer and laughing our faces like, here cuts the rope, no run, bye. Assholes. And with the wheels removed, he could float across the rivers or creeks like Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, more likely. It was also watertight. The wagon box was 4 feet deep. Damn, okay, that is deep. 14 feet along the bottom. Wow, actually, that's a big wagon. Damn. And curved upwards to 19 feet along the top. Shitball, Batman, this thing's huge. You're telling me, I was thinking it was like this thing is just gonna be like it's a wagon, but it's like this ginormous fucking wagon. You got 4 oxen hauling ass on this thing or 6? Come on, people, please. Now there was a wagon. No metal parts though, huh? That's interesting. What you gotta do? Rub butter on it every single hour of the day when you're working? Okay, lard. Oh god, and I was going to talk about the question. Why do I have to talk about it? Of course you can talk about the animals hauling ass on it, and they're not even going to respect them. They're going to leave them out in the cold. We're not even going to dress them properly. Bullshit. Who gives a fuck about the animals? Fuck the animals. That's what you do when you can't, huh? It was also watertight, prevented spillage of the load. Curved upwards, which prevented spillage of the load. 19 feet along the top, a feature which prevented spillage of the load when going up or down hills. It was also watertight, and with the wheels removed, it could float across rivers. Fuck, you don't need anything else in life, just put a cover on this fuck. I mean, wonderful, magnificent creation of magnanimous magnanimity of the brains who passed it down to someone to fabricate and manufacture and assemble. It also floated across rivers or creeks like a barge, a feature which saved the days of unloading the wagon at every fuck. Put a fucking pontoon inflatable thing on the bottom of it too, and we're good. Come on. No, no, no. We'll also put a metal under thing on that so it doesn't scrape by the bottom and get all damaged, and that could be watertight too. And we'll never, ever, 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 ever have to do anything else except for put a motor on it. We'll haul freight from Florida to Cambodia. Oh, where's Cambodia? To Peru. Okay. It's gotta be a nice motor. We put sails on it too, but if we got a motor, why not? But you can also add on features, expansion packs. You have more. You have other rooms on it when it floats. I bet you that it's not actually even gonna ever be able to. Well, that's a stupid thing to bet. Give me the money anyway. I'm right about it though. And the teams unloading the wagon at every crossing and then reloading it again on the other side. Freaking wrap on. Anyway, and the teams. The Virginian had spared no expense. Ooh, were they the ones from Budweiser? I think is Mastodon and Mazel Top. Oh, well, I can't remember what they're called. And then Conestoga horse was a special breed. They injected it every third week with the most intensely insane growth hormones you ever expected, but only along the neck and the muscles you wouldn't expect to be there in the first place. Powerful creature that stood 16 hands high and weighed as much as 1,400,000 pounds. 1,400. Holy shit. What the fuck? 16 hands. How tall are 16 fucking hands? That doesn't mean a goddamn thing. What the hell are you gonna make me fucking do this bullshit? How 16 hands? Does that include a fucking thumb? What is that supposed to mean? 8 feet? 7 feet? Doesn't tell me. You suck, education. That's better than having to actually understand. That's better than having your freaky, creepy, fake fucking asshole dick of an uncle chase you around trying to kill you all the time. And along the whole fucking time, the goddamn author won't shut up about what the fucking author. The narrator won't shut the fuck up about what the goddamn author wrote, which is in a hand. Since a hand is an uncommon word not known among most children under the age of, are you reading this book right now? It would mean, anyway, it would be cool right now if he would do it, huh? A hand is somewhere between the size of a little child and a grown-ass giant's fucking hand. I don't know. Somewhere between 6 and 9 feet. Well, that doesn't really help me because is it 6 or is it 9? Well, continue reading and you'll probably get more contextual clues. Feature was for the spillage of the load when going up or down hills. It was also watertight, and with the wheels removed, it could float across rivers or creeks like a barge. A feature would save days of unloading the wagon at every crossing, and then reloading it again on the other side. How the fuck would you be getting floating shit across and stuff? I don't understand. And the teams. They said 16,000 feet high. 16 hands. 16 hands. Well, does it include a thumb? Is it 6 feet? Is it 9 feet? The Budweiser horse? It weighed as much as 1,400 pounds. Well, I weigh as much as 140 pounds. So, there are 10 of me. Okay, there are 9 of me. Jesus Christ. 8.5. What do you want? It's not that. It's probably like more than 9. Shut up. Even all, if the whole fucking time, if the horse stood on you with 1 foot, it'd be 10 of me. 1 horseshoe. That would suck, but it doesn't tell me anything still, is it? Are they fat? Are they rumps and rears and flanks? What's a word for expanded out? It starts with that fluffed up and friggin'. Mastodon. Mazel tov. Budweiser. Beer. Alcohol. Boobs. Brownie. Paper towel. Bears selling paper toilets. 1 disposable load, then you burn it. I don't know. That could be very cool though. A whole size toilet, you just take your dump load and then you just burn it. That could be amazing. That could be awful. Mastodon. Stallion. Fords. Front loading rear ends. That human centipede thing where they sew their anuses to their lips. Most disgusting thing I've ever even thought of still. I think it's horrible. I hate it so much. I've never watched it. I hate it so much. Sometimes I can't imagine what it's like to be the second person, and then you're like, whoa. Does he force feed the first person so fucking goddamn much? How long would it take would be my question. How many days would it take for the last person to be taking a dump? And would you survive? If you're the second person, would you get nutrients? Is there a difference if you like feed the first guy once a day, 3 times a day, once a week, once every 2 weeks? If you starve the first guy, or if you just like keep it regular. Like it. I can't imagine the first person, second person surviving. He could have so much for it down his throat. He could like probably be forced to have a bowel movement. So the third person would have to have what shit? Eating shit, making shit. I don't think that the second person would last longer enough, so that would you transfer the third person up, or would you replace the second person so the third person has to get the shit? Oh, I don't think it would work beyond 3 people. I don't think you'd ever get the third person to make a bowel movement before he starves to death. You'd have to replace the second person probably once or twice before you could get up to creative to make the third person have a bowel movement. I don't think you could do it without replacing him 2 or 3 times before. Oh, it's so goddamn gross and disgusting, and even if you probably were the person to try to come up with that, I think you would just find out that everybody would starve from the third person on, and the second person would die. Oh, try to have a bowel movement, or Oh, I don't think it would even work as one person. I don't think you could live on somebody else's shit. I think you would die. Dude, but then while your lips are sewn to his anus and you were throwing up as if shitting and uncontrollable shit because he doesn't want to shit in your mouth and you're throwing up, you probably don't give a fuck about throwing it back up his ass, though, but then you'd have an exchange of pressure and motional direction. Hungry. Isn't it crazy to think that you could grow some of the best magic mushrooms on cow shit, though? Something else. We could burn it and stuff. I wonder if we could eat it. We probably could eat it. We could probably just eat it. That's probably why it comes out the way it does. I never want to, though. Okay. It's a lot better now. That was nice. Good. That was a good thing. Good conversations. I think it was probably relevant. This particular sharpshooter was trying to cross over. Traitor. These were the great Constantinogus named like the teams that drew them for the valley of eastern Pennsylvania, whence they originated. Now the valley's famous for them. Now, there was the wagon. Every part of it was built of wood. Probably not very good. Especially selected to stand whatever conditions it might encounter on the trails, but okay, it's fine. Not even the rounded wheels with the metal were these the first versions of the wagons, and they didn't get the really nice versions of the wagons until all the pioneers and the gold diggers were trying to cross the plains, and then they improved the wagons. We didn't know you need them to go thousands of miles. We just only built them to go hundreds of miles. We should have really realized how big America is. Or we should have gone to Oregon to convince them that it was that big and tell stories about the Pacific and how you were already fucking there. It was also shut up. I don't want to read about your stupid fucking wagon anymore. Or the 100 pounds. That's literally what it says. Horse of special breed, powerful creatures, 16 hands high and weighs as much as 1,400 pounds. Armor says between 7 and 7.5 feet. The Virginian had spared no expense on them, or the 100, with 6 of those magnificent animals hitched to one of the Conestoga wagons. Conestoga. They could easily pull the 12,000 pound loads. That's 2,400 pounds, or the 120 pounds. 120. I don't know if that's what it means, but maybe it's more than I thought. As the Teamsters like to say, across 1,000 miles of wilderness. What? They were designed for 1,000 miles. From that point on, Joshua had watched the man carefully. Short man with tremendous ego. He was brash, arrogant, and loud, and greedy. He was constantly at the tables, seeking a game. And Joshua noted he was always a shrewd gambler, but his greed exceeded his wisdom, and that made him the perfect mark. I agree. Joshua poured the man another glass of whiskey, then sipped at his own, as he considered the cards in his hand. The game had started almost 3 hours ago now. Joshua played carefully, lying back, taking enough losses to whet the man's appetite to the point at which the avarice shone in his eyes. Then Joshua had begun his move. 6 had started the game. 2 dropped out after the first hour. The other 2 men were still in. One was about 11. They're gambling with children. One was about even with where he had started. The other, $20 or so behind. The Teamster, a big winner. That's a month's wages, yo. A big winner for the first hour and a half was now taking heavy losses. The man's earlier exhilaration had turned to obvious desperation. As the stakes went up and the game became more intense, the scattered patrons of the tavern gathered around one by one to watch. Joshua knew they would. In fact, counted on it. Part of the strategy. The more people watching, the greater the pressure to save face. And now he finally had the hand he had been waiting for. Barely a flicker, he glanced over at the slender girl behind the bar. Jessica Roundy was the only child of Clinton Roundy, the owner of the saloon. A pale woman whose face was somewhat scarred from a childhood bout with smallpox. She was 3 years older than Joshua, quiet to the point of painfulness, shy as a fawn. She seemed a complete incongruity in the saloon on the western frontier. Except for that's always the obvious mark of the daughter of the saloon owner. She caught Joshua's glance and dropped her head quickly, but immediately grabbed a tray with a bottle of whiskey on it. Over 85. The man next to Joshua had finally decided to stay, and he pushed a gold coin into the center of the table. Out of the corner of his eye, Joshua saw Jessica move through the crowd toward him. She passed behind him. And though he had his cards close to his chest, he made sure she could see them. Coming around the table, she moved quietly up behind the Teamster, leaned over and took the nearly empty bottle off the table, putting a fresh one on. The man barely glanced up at him. He was glowering at Joshua. "You gonna play or not, Steed?" Joshua scanned his cards again, brows knitting in concentration. As he leaned forward, he saw Jessica's little finger drop. "Oh, come on, Joshua, what the fuck? This is bullshit. This is so low and dirty, goddamn outrageously goddamn disgusting. Why? All the fucking goddamn awful, nasty, dirty, disgusting, low-life piece of shit things that you could do. Are you playing this fuck face of a bullshit asshole cunt game? The only pieces of tool shit who like Texas or are from Texas or hate Texas. I don't know why the fuck you're playing this game. What the fuck is wrong with you? Who the fuck do you think you are? What in the name of Jesus Christ?" Oh, right, his daddy issues. He's got all of them. There really is a lot of excuse. "Okay, Joshua, you can learn the hard way. You're going to play or not, Steed." Joshua scanned his cards again. Cheating. Cheating, cheating, cheating. Cheating, 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 cheating. Cheating, 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 cheating. Cheating, 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 cheating. Cheating, 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 cheating. I don't know what else to say. I'm supposed to say he's probably manipulating this Jessica girl. Does she just like playing games with him? Does he give her money too? She'd buy more drinks. He'd buy her drinks. What the fuck is happening anyway? Joshua scanned his cards. Jessica said no. Just hold your patience, friend. Just hold your patience, friend, he growled. Some things can't be rushed. With an effort, as though it cost him dearly, he picked up a $20 gold piece and pushed it onto the middle of the table. "I'll see that 5 and raise it 15 more. A sudden hush fell over the room. The Teamster stared at the gold piece, then at his cards. The stack of paper and coins in front of him had dwindled to a small pile. Joshua calculated quickly. I'm glad I couldn't even calculate, because I don't even know what the fucking hands are. There was over 100 in the pot already. Almost half belonging. How do you play for 3 hours? You just forfeit every round and you don't lose anything? Because I guess that could happen now. Almost half belonging to the unit have to raise unless there's a pot that has to be, what is it called? Call? Yeah. Almost half belonging to the wagon master, and the man now had only about $40 left in his pile. That's like 2 months' wages. If you use them more better than that, could be like 2 very much longer times of having such a good time. Joshua calculated quickly. There was over, because it's $800, I'm pretty sure it was. Joshua calculated quickly. There were 100 in the pot already. Almost half belonged to the wagon master. Joshua could get away with like a lot of money, 5 months and stuff. He's like got a good year right here if he could get us. The Virginian licked his lips and counted quickly. Studied his cards. Counted again. The man on his left, already behind, finally shook his head in disgust and tossed his cards down. I'm out. The other man fingered a gold double eagle worth $20. Picked it up, toyed with it, then suddenly made up his mind. Me too. Laid down his cards. These people are making good decisions in their lives right now. The teamster smiled wickedly. I think you're bluffing, Steed. He shoved the remainder of his pile into the center of the table. I see your 20, now I raise you 20 more. Joshua studied the money for a moment and smiled thinly. Well, you've obviously got a good hand, but... He looked at his cards, now holding them close to his chest protectively. I think my luck is still holding. He counted quickly, then pushed more paper coins forward. See that and raise you 50 more. There's an audible gasp from the... I already thought he went all in. From the surrounding onlookers. Yeah, and in baseball it's illegal if you... I don't know... various rules. In football, I don't know if it's legal to run over the top of somebody by stepping on his chest plate. It would be fun if you didn't grab your foot and you yanked it out. That'd be cool. I don't know if there's a rule about that. I recently learned that if you hit the ball at your teammate who's base running, he's out. I didn't know that. But I did learn also that it's legal if they're trying to throw the ball to get you out and it hits you. And you're not intentionally interfering, and it gets dropped, and then you make it to the base. You're not out, so you can get hit by the ball, by them, but not by your own team. Can't imagine if they was trying to base load in it. Tries to steal second, the second base guy doesn't go for it, and then the first baseman hits a perfect line drive, and one of the basemen is probably a shortstop's drag up to you because he's too close. He thinks you're going to go. He's trying to cover second base because second baseman's getting ready to cover first because first baseman's not paying attention because he thinks the pitcher's going to throw home because the fourth position, and then it'd just be crazy. The pitch, then you hit it. It goes straight, bouncing, and it bounces straight at second, and you bolt for your life because you're like, I gotta make it that it bounces off you, off your skull, off your helmet. So supposed to be stealing third was hesitating because he didn't know that the guy on third was going to steal home, cause all this commotion. So he finally gets it together and takes off, but by the time he finally gets taken off, it hits his foot. That would be funny. That would suck. That would be a triple play caused by the batter. No anybody on the opposition. We have a touch it. Everybody can fall down laughing. I also recently learned there's a goddamn magnet in the fucking catcher, fucking chest plate, and it fucking catches the fucking ball. So baseball is a scam too. At least it's MLB. Hate them all now. They're all rigged. Also, I've been watching baseball, and they all fucking suck, by the way. So I was better than that anyway when I was like 13. Joshua stared at the money before him. No. Your company and everything on the table. No. Again, Joshua shook his head. No. Joshua took another drink. We're on the wrong page. I'll see that and raise you 50 more. There's an audible gasp from the surrounding onlooker. The man at Joshua's left whistled softly. The teamster bland. Now I don't even know if I ever want to become a fucking pitcher because I don't even know if the fucking pitcher is real. If he chugs as hard as he can and it always is a strike because there's a fucking magnet on the ball and the chest plate. Is there one in the goddamn catcher's mitt too? I don't know, but probably. Yeah, probably. You know, I don't have anything left. Josh shrugged and reached out and started to scoop in the money. I also didn't know that the chess player of Valhalla, and it could be Sharkers though, is based on an actual chess player fucking guy. He looks exactly the same. He's got a fucking hideous face. He's also hilariously attractive, probably. People just treat him like he's special ed because he doesn't talk much. He's great. Joshua shrugged and reached out and started to scoop in the money. Wait! Joshua stopped, feeling a quick stab of shame. The desperation in the man's eyes was like that of a starving man. Joshua wanted to look away, but forced himself to meet his gaze. The man was no child. A fool, maybe. But then, poker was a game for fools. That's true. I've got some goods down in my wagon. I can cover it. Joshua pulled at his lip thoughtfully. Gently now. What? The man demanded. Joshua took his time. He poured another drink and sipped at it carefully. Finally, he set his cards down, face to the table. We really make this interesting, Mr. Farnsworth. And there was a sudden gleam in the man's face, half desperate hope, half fear. You know, I'm in the freight business too, Joshua continued. Just getting a good start. Oh no, don't. Just leave it. Just leave it. If you know you got everything you're gonna get, don't take his fucking livelihood. He's already gonna break in front of you. Don't make him kill you when he does it. 2. I got wagons, 6 oxen, 8 head of good horse flesh. God help us all. At least the Mongols, at least they all had probably, hopefully, female horses. They drank their fermented and non-fermented milk. I'm just saying there are different types of bloodthirsty men, and I'm not even saying these are bloodthirsty men. I'm saying Josh is trying to make it bloodthirsty, though, and that's a provocation that is probably manly. He should be a little child. Even though a little child would do it worse, he would hear the little voice in him saying, "Stop, you fool. You're taking it too far now. Take his fucking money now. Sit there. Don't make it so that these guys chase you out of town and try to lynch you on the way out." Several of those surrounding the table nodded vigorously, or said, "Yeah, that's right. It's a good outfit. Where's the law?" Joshua touched the pile of money in front of him. I guess I've got close to $500 here. Jesus fucking Christ, get out! This is greed. This is, who wants to be a millionaire? And you're on the very fucking goddamn last question. You don't have a fucking clue, and you got 0 goddamn hell you all lifelines left, and all you fucking do is walk away, Regis. $250,000 is still a lot of money, Joshua. Stop being a fucking moronic idiot. Again, sudden gleam. No. Joshua touched. God help us all, Joshua. Ruining this for everyone. You're gonna get yourself fucking killed. $500 is not enough money to buy Lydia to give you a suckery. I should say turn you into a holder for her, a sucker in its holder. Anyway, Joshua touched, yes, it was a hoarse whisper. There's 200 in the middle there. I said 500, it's 2. Okay, not as huge. What does this say? You've got what in your outfit? Ah, okay. He kept his voice bored. You got what in your outfit? Wait, no. Joshua touched a pile of money in front of him. I guess I've got close to $500 here. There's another 200 or so in the middle here, there. Wait, 700. Oh, wait. Oh, because he hasn't put all in yet. Okay, $700 is even worse than I thought. He kept his voice bored, almost sleepy. Yes, there was another 200 or so in the middle there. Yes. Oh, because it's the guy just like hanging on by a thread. Don't execute him. You got what in your outfit? He kept his voice bored, almost sleeping. It took real effort, for this was the moment on which all his careful planning hung. 3 wagons, 18 Contestagas to pull them. And about $3,000 worth of freight on board. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Don't drive a man crazy when they're doing it. Take it, yo. Joshua took another drink and shook his head slowly. Don't stop your enemy. No, 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 no. Stop. I'll play another game with you later and you'll win bigger that time. And you can teach him another lesson the third time when you play with them again and he loses again. Why go to all the trouble? Because then everybody can sit around and have more drinks. And nobody dies. Joshua took another drink. Shook his head slowly, hesitantly. The teamster leaned forward, his breath coming in short bursts now, reeking of whiskey. Don't take advantage of drunk people, all Joshua, honestly, even across the table. What are you suggesting, Mr. Steed? Again, Joshua shook his head. This is crazy, he said, to himself. I put every dime I owe into my company, and it's just starting to pay off. He stopped and fingered the money, counting it slowly and deliberately. I've got enough here to buy me another full rig or more. Give him $20, call it good, Joshua. Your company and everything on the table against my stock and wagon. Oh, your company and everything on the table against my stock and wagons, the man cried. Almost pathetic. Pathetic in his eagerness to get out of the hole he had dug for himself. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Joshua stared at the money before him, letting the moment draw out to the fullest. The other two men quickly slid their money off the table so as to make it clear they were out of the game. Finally, Joshua shook his head. I don't think so. The man shot halfway out of his chair. Yes, Steed, that's my call. I see your $50 and raise you with my outfit. Winner take all. The crowd erupted, unable to bear the tension. Do it, Joshua, one man shouted from the back. He's crazy, blurted another one, not indicating whether he was speaking of the teamster or Joshua. Having moved back behind the bar, Jessica was watching Joshua, her eyes wide, frightened, hands deathly still on the counter. Still, Joshua hesitated. What will it be, mister? Farnsworth shouted, sensing victory. You mean suicide? I've raised and called. Are you gonna play or fold? Does he have to raise to what he called Joshua out to call? Can't Joshua renegotiate the terms and just say, okay, match my 500, you idiot. Or 200 more. Or have one of my horses. I don't know. If somebody raises a bargain, you have to accept it. Because if somebody raises me my livelihood and my property and my every single goddamn other fucking thing that I could ever have or hope to have forever and ever, plus my children and their hopes and dreams, for their everything they want to the same degree? Or can I be like, no, how about $75 more for $75 more? And he's like, no, I won't. I'll say, okay, I'll take your fucking horse and team, one of them, not all three, on my horse and team. Do I have to be crazy as you? Because I don't want to do that. I don't want the stakes to raise. Is that how it really goes in poker? You raise more? I guess you do. All right, can you just raise more than everybody else has? But then they have to just go all in, is the thing, right? Because you can't just go all in. Or you can go all in at any moment, but still. You raise the stakes. You bring $500, you can't raise the stake. But he has 3 teams, and Joshua only has 1 team. You can't force him to raise 2 teams to his 1, can you? I guess he could, because he could raise it to a horse and its team, and Joshua can't be like, I don't have that. But he could also say, I didn't bring that to play with. And then they call him and then you just be like, well, I don't want to play on that level. You could probably just at any moment say no, huh? Joshua, you could just say no still. Well, let me, Mr. Farnsworth shouted, sensing victory. I've raised and called. Are you going to play or fold? Joshua's mouth tightened. All right. He said angrily. I call my outfit and what's on the table against your wagons and teams. Winner takes all, so he gets more than he bargained with. Guys making him play outrageous. Billy could say no. A murmur of stunned shock swept through the room. Farnsworth leaped to his feet, grinning widely, revealing uneven, discolored teeth. He spread his cards out on the table. Full house, aces, full house, aces and queens. Stepped back. The breath went out of the crowd in a whoosh. It was better than they had thought. With a powerful hand. Joshua sighed, feigning a tremendous relief. Then, slowly letting the drama work its magic, he laid his cards down. They were all spades, starting with a 7 and going up from there. Straight flush, jack high. The tavern exploded with a roar. The teamster just stared, his jaw slack. Bloodshot eyes unthinking in stupefaction. Then, with a moan, he dropped back hard into his chair, slumped down, and threw his hands over his eyes. Why did Joshua feign a tremendous relief? It's like accurately inaccurate. He cannot feigning it. It is tremendous relief. Was he just not right because he just wasn't fucking relieved? I get it. He's playing a dick ass. Oh, he's being that. He wasn't relieved because he knew he was gonna. I forgot he was cheating with Jessica. Well, anyway, I guess I forgot he was cheating with Jessica, so that doesn't really matter as much, I guess. At least it didn't end in any violence, and Josh was quadrupled today. 900 miles to the east, about the same time of day. Nathan Steed looked up from his plate of lamb stew. Further down is Joseph's back. His father looked up sharply, grunted something, then continued eating. Marianne looked at her son. Where did you hear that? One of the Johnson boys was at the blacksmith shop. They live just a quarter mile up the road from the Smiths. He got back last night. Melissa, Becca, and Matthew had also stopped eating now. Their heads swung back and forth between Nathan and their father, sensing the sudden tension. Laying his fork down, Benjamin turned to his wife. We have an agreement. There will be no more talk of Joseph around this table. Nathan took a breath, looking straight at his father. Mr. Harris lost the manuscript. There was a sharp intake of breath from his mother. But Nathan kept his eyes riveted on his father. He took some satisfaction in noting that at least the news had startled him. It had been 2 weeks earlier when his father had come home and recounted his conversation with Martin Harris. That's why Joseph came back. Mr. Harris was supposed to have brought the copy back to Harmony some time ago, but he never came. This morning, Joseph sent word for Mr. Harris to bring it to the house. When Mr. Harris went to get the manuscript from where he had hidden it, it was gone. Nathan's mother shook her head slowly. How terrible. Benjamin was looking closely at his son. How do you know all this? There was a moment's pause, then Nathan shrugged. I saw Hiram in town. Before her husband could respond, Marianne asked quickly, is there another copy of the manuscript? His eyes dropped, reflecting the sick feeling inside him. Oh, I know. Well, ignored God 3 times and God didn't have them make a copy first. It's kind of like, how about you fuck with God, you fucking find fuck out. No, there was only the one Mr. Harris took. What's the manuscript, Nathan? Matthew was following along intently, his 7-year-old face looking thoroughly puzzled. It's the paper Mr. Harris used to write Joseph's translation of the gold plates, Nathan said. Supposed translation, Benjamin muttered sarcastically. Nathan felt a quick irritation. You heard what Mr. Harris said, Pa? Joseph is translating. You think Mr. Harris would lie, Pa? Father glared at him for a moment. Martin Harris is a fine man, but sometimes even a fine man can be a fool. But he was there, Benjamin. Mary Ann jumped in. He actually was there while Joseph translated, and that experience with the professor, how can you just... The look he shot her was so wintry that she let the sentence trail off and looked away. Melissa, filled with curiosity and uncowed by her father, turned to Nathan. I'll bet it was Mrs. Harris who took it. Leave it to the devil of a dick, the dick of a devil, to blame it on a girl. Come fuck on. Bitch, please. It was obviously Martin Harris' fucking fault, even if it's true that she was the one who took it. Come on. We all only think she took it because we're all taught to take it. She fucking probably from this goddamn book. What the fuck? Are we gonna learn to hate Emma? Emma's book too. Well, I bet it was. You heard her the other day, Mama. She bragged about seeing the manuscript, and she's still angry that Joseph wouldn't show her the gold plates. I mean, come on, fuck off. Melissa, that's enough, her father said sharply. Her daughter told me that, Pa. She said her mother offered Joseph a big sum of money if he would show them to her. When he said no, I thought they didn't have any more money. She said that. A sharp crack of Benjamin's hand against the table. Ow! Made the ball jump. I would not have any more of this, he barked. Is that all clear? Is that clear? Nathan and Melissa nodded quickly. Matthew and Becca dropped their eyes and began to eat again hastily. Marianne sighed, winning another warning glance from her husband. And a heavy silence fell over the family. I'm not going to say anything because he's let it go so long. How can you not stop? Nathan ate slowly, watching his father out of the corner of his eye. He cursed himself for bringing up the subject of Joseph again. The matter he had to discuss with his father would be tough enough, but he had been so upset with the news Hiram had shared with him. It had burst out of him. He let the silence run on for several minutes, then took a quick breath. Sometimes authors say several minutes. Do you understand that means 90 to 120 to 180 seconds? To 100 how many? Like, I mean... Then took a quick breath. He saw his mother was watching him. As he usually did, Nathan had taken his head up with his mother first to try it out. She nodded at him now, smiling her encouragement. He pushed his plate aside. Pa? The steady mopping of the gravy stopped. But nobody said a word through all of that. Everybody was just literally waiting for him to actually the fucking goddamn, what do you call the opposite of an anus? No, the back of an anus. And let noises come out. Let the silence run on. No, fuck you, dude. Not what I want to say. What do I say? Dude, I hope he's falling a stick too, like the fucking girls they wrote the Talmud on. He pushed his plate aside. No, I don't hope girls fall on the sticks. I don't believe any girls fell on sticks. I believe they were raped and blamed for the sticks. The men did. Steady mopping of the gravy stopped. Leave me alone while I eat my fucking dinner and I'm right. Shut the fuck up. His father did not look up. Of no more talk of Joseph or the manuscript, Nathan. I know. He waited, then when nothing more was said, he went on. Asel Carlson has put up his land for sale. Yes. The bread was laid down slowly onto the plate. He's asking $300 for 30 acres. I know that. Snapped out. Hurt and impatient. Not even half of it is cleared. Some of it is bottomland. Nathan groaned inwardly. His father wasn't going to make this easy. This farm's not big enough for 2 families, Pa. For a moment, his father just stared at him, then said, "What's that supposed to mean?" His mother shook her head. "It means I'm tired of fapping alone to the blankets in the corner of the attic in Matthew's bedroom when nobody's around, Dad. I need a place." Nathan thinking about starting his own family, it's supposed to mean. His mother shook her head in exasperation. Melissa, oh right, this is about Lydia. Melissa's and Rebecca's head swung around as though pulled by the same string. Matthew looked up too, but his face had a little of the confusion that swept across his father's face. "You're gonna marry Lydia!" Melissa shrieked. Nathan grinned. "She'll have me. I haven't asked her yet." He became instantly stern. "Don't none of you be going and saying anything to anyone." "That's right," Marianne chided. "Not a word." "Oh, Nathan," Becca crowed. "There's gonna be a boy in our family with his dick inside a girl that's not in our family." Obviously, there's not one in any of the girls inside the family either. It's just sometimes it's too much. What do you think Mom and Dad do every goddamn night? Why the fuck do you think they're fucking together and she puts up with his shit? It's because of his dick and the shit, stuff that comes out of it that's not shit. Come on. And none of you be going and trying saying there. Look. Can't be for money. She could have left him when they sold the farm. For the 5 children that died that won't be able to come back if they don't fuck each other in heaven after they die. Come on. Oh, Nathan, Becca crowed, with all the romance a 10-year-old girl was capable of. I think Lydia is so pretty. So does Nathan. And she's nice, too, Matthew said soberly. Nathan's father sat back, still a little dazed. "I didn't know it was that far along." "Pa, I can't ask her to marry me until I have a way to care for her." "And you don't pay a shit, you fat fuck." "God, you lard. I know our farm isn't big enough." His words were tumbling out now, and that's what Joshua can't tell you. "But the Carlson land is just up the road. I could still help you farm this, but you won't pay me jack fucking squat. Between the two of us, we'd be alright, I think. God help us all. How the fuck, and why the fuck, if this old fat death-loving suicidal tub of lard is capable of running this whole fucking goddamn motherfucking place by himself, can't you leave him to do it and run your own goddamn motherfucking place? He's never gonna give you shit. Come on. Between the two of us, we'd still be alright, I think, because I understand you're never gonna give Joshua a fucking penny either, you fat fuck. Where are you gonna get $300? Benjamin, Marianne said sharply. Can't you even believe in one of our children for a fat fucking second besides the vaginas of our daughters that you know are gonna get sold off like fucking marriage and what are they, dowries? For their you hope richer father-in-laws. Don't pretend you're not going to trade our daughters' vaginas for hopeful money, second-hand, third-hand from your rich sons-in-laws, you hope, you fat fuck who's never going to pay his sons, and shut the fat fuck up, you fat fucking fuck. Come on! What the hell are you expecting right here? I don't understand why Nathan's being so nice and generous and buying the plot near you so he can still fucking help you. Also, I don't understand why Josh was sending back money, but I do what I did. It really shows the kind of love and thought his family's in desperation, but they're not. They can afford to pay the hired help, just not their sons. Can't you even congratulate him? This is an important day. You'll have your hands full trying to keep her happy. God help us all, he half grumbled. She seems like a good woman. Be good to get her away from her mother. I'd like to have her over dinner, you're right, she is gorgeous, and I'll think of her when I'm lumping your mother. God help me. He added as an afterthought, be good to get her away from where. What the fuck? Seems like a good. What the hell is happening right here? What the fuck is this old nasty fat fuck saying? He half grumbled. You'll have your hands full trying to keep her happy. We already got past that, no comment. She seems like a good woman. Who the indigenous fat fuck of a fat face, fat fucking fat fuck, fat hole, fucking fat hole, fat fuck, can't fuck the skinny hole because they're all too disgusting. Is this nasty asshole, haggard, nasty, disgusting fat fuck of a lazy asshole, nasty. He's not lazy though. He'll work himself and his children to death for nothing. Sell the goodness and sell it for nothing. Give it to a man because you think he's a piece of shit, so you'll make him work. What the hell is happening? She seems like a good woman. We just allow you to be the authority on that and assume that's true, which nobody knows. She's not a woman, you ass fuck, but now because of your words, you can start looking at her boobs like she is. Be good to get her away from her mother. I don't know if I've ever actually heard a father say a more offensive line than that, and nobody's gonna say a single goddamn thing or make a comment because Gerald the ass fuckhole Lund himself had some dude angel fingering his anus about this shit. What the fuck? You're just gonna get away with printing that in a book and assume that Benjamin still gets to continue living? He said it out loud in front of everybody. It'll be good to get her away from her mother. Holy shit. Holy fucking goddamn cow. Don't eat them, milk them. He added as an afterthought. Nathan smiled. Holy fucking shit, this family is so fucking fucked up. Realizing that his father, that was as good. Realizing that from his father, that was about as good as he would get. Okay, Nathan, there is something wrong with you if you will not ditch town and tent now. Get the fuck out of here. There's something wrong with Nathan because he's not going to defend him. You can't let your father get away with a comment like that because then you're literally calling your children the descendants of the woman that you're letting be attacked so fucking openly, and you're going to have to think about her face as you are ejaculating into this Lydia girl sometimes. Wow, this is so fucked up and misogynistic. I think you could say it about a woman and then it wouldn't be instead, or about a man and it wouldn't be, well, yes, it would still be extremely insulting and offensive. Are you kidding me? This line made it through? Who the fuck was the editor and publisher? We say Bookcraft. They get something wrong and they get something right too. Are you kidding me? This could not have come from a company that's a part of Babylon in the Gentile world. They wouldn't have let this slip through unless they also had provocative, erotic content that you rub yourself to. Holy shit, be good to get her away from her mother, he says. Nathan smiles, accepting the fact that his father is a fat fuck and he'll never change, and that's all, instead of being like Joshua and growing a goddamn actually pair of testicles and walking away. What you do, even if somebody's gonna kick him because they dropped. There's no fucking goddamn way he just gets away with his goddamn misogynistic fucking comment. But he could have said it about her dad too, so it's just a judgment on parenting. He's the worst father that I've ever read about. I know, Pa. All he's asking is $50 down. What the fuck? Where do we get the money? You're just gonna let that slip, Marianne? Be good to get her away from her mother. There's still the matter of the $300. There's still the matter of the $300. I know, Pa. All he's asking is $50 down and the rest within 2 years. Jesus fucking Christ, what are you gonna do for 2 years to get $250, Nathan? Go work like your brother Joshua? The thing I hate him the most for, besides the fact that he won't just lick my sucking shit as it flies out of my fat fucking face lips as I scream at him that he's wrong when he's not. We still got more than 50 in cash from the farm in Vermont. Oh my God, you can't ask him for 5 times more than his fucking savings. Last year's harvest, Marianne said. What? Mom, no! Shut the fuck... Wait, land. Oh, that's true. But then you're... Oh, but they could do it... But he is asking for a permanent land to live on permanently for the rest of his life, and he's gonna marry little Lydia, right? Okay, it could work out. But I don't think you should be asking for this kind of relationship with your father when you know what kind of a dipshit he is. I mean, a douchebag. But I'd rather be a douchebag, because at least a douchebag's connected to a hose, and you know where that goes. Where are you gonna get $300? Benjamin, Marianne said sharply. Can't you even congratulate him? This is an important day. Why? Because I'm going to convince you to give him the fucking money and get his own fucking place, you dick. So you can keep sticking it in me. All right. Don't listen to my wife. All he's asking is $50 down. We've still got more than $50 in cash from the farm in Vermont. Yeah, but we could have lived on luxury on our savings like that, and you're just going to give it all down. He wants more. All we have it. Cry and whine and moan. We're gonna have to buy bread still. Maybe we could grow grains on Nathan's property, but you know we won't. I'll pay you back, Pa. Oh, never go for something like that. He brushed it aside. That leaves 250 more. He's actually being practical about something for once, and there it was. The moment had come. He straightened his shoulders. Do you remember Mr. Knight, the farmer from down in Colesville Way? He was at the Smith home that night we went there. Plus, if he could make friends with Joshua again, Joshua could come pay him back. Well, he'll never do that. His father was suddenly wary. Yes. He's looking for some help to build some barns and clear some more land this fall. He said he'd pay top wages. How did you hear about that? He wrote to Hiram Smith. Hiram recommended me. You're just gonna up and leave me to do the harvest alone? Fuck off, you piece of shit, old man. Yes, I am, because I'm earning some fucking goddamn money and have a fucking place here, and then we can actually pay for some fucking grains that we're not going to plant ourselves for the next year or two. Yeah. And I can pay my mortgage payment, the first one, and make the second one and the third one, and have them saved quickly so they don't have to worry about it so long. Why you gotta at me like this, old man? I'm coming with a way to do it, and you're just fighting instead of going home and shutting up until Mom gives me the fucking goddamn money. How did you hear about that? I'll help you, Pa, Matthew cried. Everyone turned and smiled at Matthew, even though he probably would be the most earnestly helpful one if you'd actually let him help. He was still watching Nathan, his jaw set. Except his father didn't turn to look. No, Pa, I had told Mr. Knight I couldn't come before the end of September. I'd stay through the winter and be back in time to start clearing some of my land. It's perfect, it's genius, he's amazing, what an opportunity. Shut the fuck up, you Benjamin. He stopped, struck by the feel of that. I'd be back to help with the spring planting. There was a grunt. Benjamin turned back to his plate, picking up the bread again. Every eye was on him. He mopped along the edge of his plate, then popped it into his mouth. He looked up, as though surprised at the attention he was getting. Well, he growled, I suppose every man's got to make his own way sometime. Nathan felt relief shoot through him, like a gun, like a large-barreled, high-caliber, semi-powerful, but ultimately fired faster with the finger than a full-powered minigun. He felt it aimed through his anus. He felt it shoot out of his mouth like it was blowing out his teeth and all his guts with it. Marianne reached across the table and touched her husband's hand. Matthew clapped his hands. Becca was smiling as if she just found a litter of kittens. Melissa was looking at Nathan, his eyes suddenly shiny. I wish I could be there when you asked Lydia. I wish I could be there when you asked Lydia, she whispered. If his father took note of those reactions, he didn't show it. Does Lydia know you'll be leaving here for 6 months? Yeah, Dad, and she's got every dude lined up in her imagination. She could probably fuck while I'm gone if she wants. All right, she's that kind of gal. Nathan shook his head. I'm going to tell her tonight. Oh, well, she'll get them loaded up tonight and tomorrow. Or the next day. Who knows? She's not ever going to actually do it. She'll probably seduce her own father first. Your father nodded, stood up, and walked swiftly to the corner where the curtain divided off the sleeping area from the rest of the cabin. In a moment, he returned, a small leather bag in his hand. If he left right now, he could go by Mr. Carlson and pay him the $50 before someone else get in mind to take that land. Oh, damn. See, I do like Benjamin for this. Nathan said slowly. For a moment, he was tempted to reach out and embrace his father, but his father was counting the money. He dropped it into Nathan's hand, watching him closely. Nathan finally stuck out his other hand. His father looked at it for a moment, as if not sure what it meant. Then he grinned slowly and reached out and took it, gripping it hard. Congratulations, son, he said softly. Thank you, Pa. Thank you, Pa. Oh, thank you for the love of Jesus. Girl life, hate your life, hate your life. Hate your life, if you 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 hate your life, your life, your life, your life, your life, your life. And you'd hate your life at the same time. Hey, those things actually don't work very well together. It makes you hate your life more or less. That's your expense. That's just something that you crap up about the reason all you're doing is hating your life. And it can be alright. That's because it is yummy. You are correct. Like any other information. You'll have to charge for information. That's how they get by. Why do the Huts charge for information? What are you talking about? My time is not worth answering your question. I will not give you the answer to that question unless you give me money. They get paid for curiosity, of course. That's what it is. You get paid for curiosity. You will love it. You know, Huts run the place because, yes, they get paid for people's curiosity. I mean, information. How does that work? You see, you'd have to give me some money to answer that question for you. Because you're too lazy to answer a question yourself. You must have a problem with whoever is your entity in charge of yourself. You want to answer your fucking question for you. You obviously know the obvious answer to the question. So that's not happening for you. That's what the Huts are making money out of. Information. Laziness. Because you can't just pull up your own fucking data pad and search it on the internet. They're not bad people. They're intelligent. And they make you pay. Anyone can be intelligent. It's called the internet. You will literally stand there while they look up on their data pad and give them money for doing so because you don't want to have to do it. But it's just in Star Wars, nobody had phones. Valid question. I mean, a valid statement. That's true. Hi, everyone. Don't find me anywhere else, will you? I'm just saying. Blah, 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 blah. Not because he stopped talking, but because everyone stopped listening. Blah, 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 blah. And also, can I get a refill, please? What I was saying, even more than what I was saying when I was saying what I was saying, is what I'm gonna say when I say what I say next, which is this. Something important about the Hutts ruling the web. No, in Star Wars, nobody had a data pad they could look at. Is that because actually in Star Wars nobody has a phone, or is that because humanity didn't have phones yet? And so humanity depicted it incorrectly. Because everybody would have phones. Then how do the Hutts make money on information? Information that's not on the web, with connections, by asking questions that people don't post on social media. Who would even want to be so intricately entwined in intrigue? Anyway, as I have to learn things like that. Why can't it just be enough to be like, oh yes, I learned alchemy. I can turn metal into other metals. Or yes, your relative is dead. I will burn their body for you since you apparently don't want to take care of it. You want to bury it, somebody else will dig the hole, somebody else will build the casket, I'll say something. I just don't understand the great lengths we go to have such convenience. But then again, what would a person do who didn't get thirsty or hungry? Be bored? Then what? What if John really has been around since Jesus? That's like 1 to 2,000. You fucking goddamn, you help us all. We're supposed to actually live forever. We're supposed to actually, all of us are gonna live forever, is what you're telling me, is we have to keep living like anybody that might have been living forever. That sounds like the worst possible scenario that I don't want to play out. I thought that I could... But all I ever really wanted was to die. That's all there is beyond all the things. I can say all the other things I ever wanted, but then I just want to die, so why do I have to be alive? You try to blame your parents for creating you, they get pretty irate, and they won't cooperate or listen. We all know it's just you, God, fuck off. Or stay, whatever. I just can't stomach it any longer. Actually, that's not my problem. The problem is we're gonna play another, read another chapter of this godforsaken book. God help us all.